Earground Radio. New voices amplified.
Hello and welcome to Earground. My name is Marco and I'm super excited to be joining you guys. And to everybody who's watching Earground New Voices Amplified, thank you so much for the support. Just over the past month, we managed to double our following on Facebook. So keep liking and following our Facebook page and also our YouTube channel. But we're celebrating the Women's Month, and yesterday was the International Women's Day. And it is a humbling honor to be having one amazing woman, an innovator, an entrepreneur, a creative, coming from Zimbabwe, but now living in Europe and doing amazing things. Melissa Barding Vandira, welcome to Earground, and thank you so much for taking your time.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me here, and I feel honored to be part of your program. Thank you so much.
Great. You grew up, in Chivi and also in Harare. Take us through how was your upbringing like? How was your background growing up in the village and later in the town?
Well, it's very exciting, and also at the same time, I mostly feel emotional. Be careful, because when I talk about something that is so deep in my heart, and
Yes.
since it's those were my roots. As a child, I knew nothing more than that my parents provided for me. So I remember when we lived in Harare, my father worked in Mount Pleasant together with my mother, and then they moved to Bunyani. That's where my brother was born in Mount Pleasant, and then I was born in Bunyani. They called St. Mary's, I remember. And then later on, they found their house or stand in Bereka, and that's where I grew up actually. And I went to school, partly primary school in Bereka, and then I went to Kwachi in 1985. Yeah. But then when I was growing up in the 70s, my mother waited a long time before she had my little brothers, and they were born 6 years later, and born in 1980. So I waited by going to school, actually, because I remember as a child, you're allowed to go to school when you're 5 years in Zimbabwe.
Yes.
But then I didn't.
5, 6, 7, yeah.
Exactly. So I went to school now at 7 because I had to help my mother with the twins. When the twins are born, there are mostly complications. My little brother, the one of them was not really well. So she had to visit hospital several times and to scare her. And so she needed somebody who could help her carry the babies. So for me, it was something natural, normal, because I used to help my mother sell the clothes that she used to sew as well. Yes. So there's no way you can ever say no to your parents. So at the moment, I don't regret anything of it, because that's the reason why I started Bereka.
Yes.
So when I was growing up, my brother was already older than me. He's 11 years older than me. So we never grew together as little siblings, because he was already going to university after some time. But then I was with my mother and my father mostly. So I went to Mashing, Kwachivi, that's where my father. Yeah. And my mother comes from Slovenia, that's what I understood. She's actually in Ndebele. They are both late. And going to Mass to Chivi, you see, I'm having a sigh, something that is very important.
I can see how emotional it is.
Yeah, it is. Because my father by then worked now for the University of Zimbabwe. He worked he was a chef cook. So he would actually sometimes prepare chicken for the bus drivers. This bus called Moyo Mchena or Chawatsarira. And Moyo Mchena would go through Blawayo Road, you know, from Noton, Chegu, Tukadoma, Kwekwe, Gweru. And then you just leave Shawan at that side and then you go to Shurubi, Boterekwa. You know that song?
Yes.
So it's like,
That's how much you bet.
yeah. So it's like, that was very nice because you pass through every bus station that I would stop. These conductors and the bus driver were taking care of me as their own child. Because they would be told by my father that you take care of
my daughter.
There was no way anyone would come and tamper around with me because I was like, you know, because these guys they were given chicken and they were really treated by my father.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's how I traveled to Musha, and then I would come from Mbare or else Blawayo Road because we lived in Zaresekwa. So my father just went with me at the Blawayo Road with loads and loads of luggage because he started paying just before the schools were closed. So I've never been in Harare during holidays. And so I would go there in Chiri. The last bus stop was where I would go. And then because we had to walk about 10 kilometers from the bus stop to our house.
Your homestead.
So, yeah, sometimes if we were lucky, the bus driver would really take an effort to use that road, which was not made, actually was not made for bus, to go and bring me closer to the house, you know. And the people from the village, they would know, you know, like, so people would come and help us, Nenkoro, carry the stuff, because they would also come and have breakfast at our home. And my mother was very giving, so she would give people loads of, you know. And sometimes we'd end up not having even sugar left in our home because people come and, you know. Yeah, so I enjoyed in the village very much. And I actually enjoyed the traveling because you know, even if you're in Kwekwe, you're in Gweru, there's always something different that you see there at the market. You go to Shurubi, Nema, Cha, and that's where they used to sell those donuts, the long ones, you know, and I would read that, you know. Yeah, so I think those were the moments of my life, and when I was in Chivi, I did learn a lot. You know, we are at a very outskirted, remoted area where even today it's not so much. We don't have a tar road. We have Rukova, Save River is there, Runde River is there, lots of mountains. So the fact that it's remoted, I'm happy with that because sometimes you have these villages that are well modernized now that you end up not seeing anything anymore about being in a rural area. So we would fetch our water a few kilometers away from our home. But when we're going on our way going to the river, there's so much that happens there. You know, we'll be passing through these trees. Every season there are trees with fruits. And you know, as children, you know what you sit there, you drink. And by the time we come back home, it's hours later. My mother always like, "What were you doing on the way? You're supposed
to doing outside." Yeah.
Yeah. And I eat soil a lot, so I would be going through the mountain.
You eat soil?
Yes, I eat soil. So you know, and when I passed through when I was going to fetch water, I would find the certain trees with mujuru.
Mujuru, and then you take it off from the tree. Yes.
So I had some connection with nature that if I look at it today, because I miss it so much, I appreciate it even more. Because at that moment, it was the way of living. It was my way of life. I didn't know anything better than that. Yeah. And I can't say I took advantage of it because I really did all what I could to see what I saw things like the reptiles. You know, there's so many different types of reptiles.
Yeah.
Not only lizards with different colors, but the other ones that look like dinosaurs, you know, the big, very crazy. Yes, I don't know the names very well. I used to be scared of them, but sometimes, you know, you come across them because we live in a very mountainous area in the Chile area. And of course, we play in Save River, and sometimes it's a rainy season, you would suddenly see pool, and you'll be very, of course. So there's things that you learn as a child when you're in the village to carry things ahead.
And getting exposed to these things, learning all of these experiences, being surrounded by the nature and the beauty and the flora and the fauna in the village, but also still exposed to the life in the town, taking care of two of your twin brothers, you know.
Yes.
Now you moved to Europe. You're now living in the Netherlands. Since when have you been in Netherlands?
I came to Netherlands in end of 1994. It was also another, it was from 1985 to 1994. It was constant of moving to the village from when the school closed. Yeah. And then in 1994, that's when I was almost finishing my school. And my brother found a job in the Netherlands. He was always applying for a job. I don't know what this guy was doing. He had finished his university and he moved to different places working. But that was his little sister. So somehow, he was this analytical chemist guy, and
Yes.
he was a studying person, and he was always encouraging me to do that. And I'm really appreciative, of course, because he gave me this person. So he decided to take me to the Netherlands. He told my parents, and they were like, "Oh, where do you want to take our child?" And I was like, "I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to leave my parents." So I cried all the way. I don't want to lie to you. At the airport, I cried a lot. My brother came here in October already to prepare and to start working, and my sister-in-law, his wife, his ex-wife, we came together with the kids. So
Okay, great.
the whole idea was I would help them take care of the children and at the same time going to, to school myself. So that was okay. Yeah. So that was 1994 and December.
Wow. And now fast forward, you took a culture that you experienced as a child in Zimbabwe, the baby carrying culture, Bereka, and developed that sling into a thriving enterprise that you now run in Netherlands, where you're not only just selling these products, but we're also doing a lot of trainings, a lot of workouts
Yes.
for parents that are nursing. Can you take us through the whole journey of you kickstarting this company and to where it is today?
It's a long story, but I love talking about it. I wasn't expecting this, to be honest. I guess it's part of life, that things that you get as a child are the things that determine who you become. And I definitely agree on that one because I'm experiencing it to the day of today. Now that my parents are late, it even encourages me to do even more. That reminds me of that positive side of my parents. I was working. Of course, I went to the I went to the university. I finished, and I did partly accounting as well. And I worked for different companies in the Netherlands. I was very quick when it came to the learning of the Dutch language. I didn't have, because we came as international people. We came as experts. But of course, when I came into the Dutch companies, that's when I started learning the Dutch language. So it was very quick, and I even started writing so many things in Dutch. I can't say now I think a lot in Dutch, but
But you do speak well.
Yeah, I do. I speak better than many Dutch people. If I'm not sure, but I don't mostly, but they say it themselves. So now I'm able to speak too. Yeah. So anyway,
but you have not departed from your Shona culture. Now living in Germany, in Netherlands for so many years, speaking the language, surrounded by the culture, but you are still.
I'm still here grounded with my own culture. That's true, yes. It's easier. Why? Because the way I quickly managed to learn the Dutch culture, language, and tradition made me go back to where I was. It encouraged me to quickly realize or to love my culture more, because you see already what you don't want in the other culture. You already see things that are pressing your own culture down, of which, if you are a typical Zimbabwean, like as Zimbabweans, the way we know each other, you come out of that pressed place and you rise. That's how it went. And in 2008, after working for different companies, in 2007 I became pregnant of our first child. I met my husband in 1998 at the university, of course, and Yeah, we were dating and not dating. We're dating, not dating. Because he comes from a very different. He comes from these Dutch Reformed Church people.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, but he stopped going to church when he was 18 years. So it kind of, it was a bit weird. In the end, I also, of course, discovered that those were the missionaries who went to Zimbabwe.
Yes,
So
in Chivi, in Masvingo, Dutch Reformed is a big
more can stay
church.
if you,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's like, in the end now, what brought us together was music. That's one thing I will tell you later about it. Because from classic to any type of music, he was very much, he loved going to concerts, and that brought us together. Even today, if we see a concert, he run. We're going to that.
We attend.
Simon, we're going to U2, we're going to Metallica, and then I love that. I just, it's rhythm that I also remember when we grew up in Zimbabwe, we always listened to music. Every neighbor would be listening to the same type of number, and we'll be dancing, all of us. Anyway, going back to Bereka, yeah, I when I became pregnant with the first child, I started doing sort of research. Some of these things, they happen automatically. You always want to know more and more and more. So the same applies to the pregnancy moment.
Yes.
I wanted to know what's there. How do the European people give birth? What do they offer for parents like me as an African? Or what's going to happen? And we were reading a lot with my husband, and I realized there were not so many books when it comes to pregnancies, when it comes to breastfeeding, when it comes to what happens after and what happens during the pregnancy. They were just standard books. And I remember that there was just a little part where it says that the African people carry their babies, and the little part where people were saying, encouraging, like the WHO would say, we encourage people to breastfeed for minimum 6 months, and after that, you can also stop breastfeeding. So I was like, oh, okay, but I remember my mother breastfeeding for a very long time. But anyway, it went just through my head until I gave birth, and then that's when nature starts taking place. Some of these things I really believe God is in it, and Vadzimu, my ancestors are there.
Yes.
Because some of these things you just do them without having to plan. You can't say you plan everything. Yeah. And then I gave birth through cesarean, a very heavy one, because it was very urgent after loads of a lot of pain, contractions. Yeah.
Yes.
But anyway, in my book, of course, I explained that part very deeply. When my baby came, of course, that's when I started breastfeeding in February 2008. And I stopped in 2019, September, last year, actually.
Yes.
So, baby wearing, caring of babies, I couldn't find anything proper in the shop when we were pregnant to carry the baby. And then I realized, and we got a push chair, how do you call it, prem, from
yes.
my
Baby
parents.
carrier.
Yes, because it's a natural thing to do here when you're pregnant. You get a whole list of, as if we need that, but you get a list of what you should be having in the house. And most of the time, it's too much.
Yeah, true. I know the experience.
Comparing it ourselves, African people who are living there with nothing, and we'll be calling ourselves we are in a luxury position, yet we are actually having too much things that we don't actually need. So in the end, I lived in my flat that I bought, and my husband came to live with me at that moment because he lived in a renting flat. So it was a flat where you go on stairs downstairs. Okay. That's like the beginning of Bereka. When
so it was a struggle to go up and down.
Yes, and I was there they brought me home from the hospital after the cesarean, and the first day I wanted to go outside. My husband takes the whole pram with the baby in it. I was looking at him, I was like, we're struggling taking this whole thing. Where are you making a bed for the baby? I mean, that's crazy for going outside only. And then he was like, yeah, that's how it's supposed to happen. And, he was so confident. He was trying to help as a dad. And, okay, we pegged in that thing. And this way we went out of the door. And I looked down the stair myself, and I go to care. And I was thinking, now my husband is still at home, but am I going to do this on my own, taking this whole big thing down and bringing it up again and down?
Elevator.
Yeah, I didn't want to do that. My whole senses refused. I started like even shaking. I told my husband, I know maybe it sounds crazy, but I don't think I'm going to manage to do this. And then we we took it down. We started walking, of course, and went out. We came down. But when I was walking behind us pram, I realized I wanted to kiss my baby all the time. I was going down there wanting to kiss my baby, but I couldn't because the baby was very far. You know, these practical things that we actually end up accepting, but it's not supposed to be like that. Your child has to be close to you. So when we went back, I told my husband, no, there's something I know. My sister was there. She took a Zambia Ramayavangu that I was given by my mother, and he put the baby at the back. And it felt so natural. That moment, that was the starting of it. I took the baby outside. She was very small, a few days old. And people started complaining. People were like, that's not good for the legs of
That's
the
not
baby.
good for the legs. The legs are hanging.
Yes, and the baby is sitting inside the back. You can't see her. And, so that's why I say my whole experience is the research, because when you're hearing people saying you can't see something at your back, in your mind, you start thinking, okay, how come then African people do it without even to think about it?
Yes.
So that has to do with a sense of feeling in my mind. So does it mean European people feel a bit less than when it comes to African people? Because when you are afraid of something that is at your back and you can't see, so you have no control, that already means that if I can feel that everything is okay at my back, it means my sense of feeling is at its place. It's okay. So I wrote all those things down. I was just thinking about myself, oh, how can they think that way? And okay, how about the legs? I don't know, because what I know is there are lots of runners, footballers from Africa.
Yes.
And I ended up kind of preaching like a watchtower from talking about everyone asking me. I would always say, but how come the people who run the fastest are from Ethiopia, from Africa, not from Europe? I don't know. Something is wrong then. Because if you are telling me that it's not good, but you have once seen it on television, poor African people practicing it, and you don't allow it in Europe, I don't know, but I don't think it's right. So that's how I started. I kept on. I was narrow, going with my baby out there. Yes, I wanted to see
and
more
society
people.
was
Yes, at some point somebody reported me then because they say it's a form of child abuse. Somebody,
for real?
yeah, I got they contacted me, and then of course I won the case because I told them, and I was even carrying that baby, talking to the people about it, like look. They were even saying you have to take your baby down. I said, no, I'm not going to do that. What I then discovered, I also discovered that, of course, it's a whole commercial world where you see people are selling prems, people are selling milk, formula
now
milk.
Threat. Your enterprise
Yes.
is small, but it's growing, but it's a threat to this kind of enterprise.
So I told them, I thought we are in a free world, a democratic world where people can make choices. I don't think you can tell me as an African mother to stop carrying my baby. Yet in Africa, that's what we practice. The fact that I'm here, I know we have to follow. I know that I do want to have a chance to show you the benefits of carrying a baby. That's how it and the people started inviting me, of course. The newspapers started coming, and I was earning money at that moment, but they were now seeing how I do it. Because when I do something, I do it with all my heart. It's not about I give you a little bit and you give me money. That moment I wasn't thinking that way. I was more like trying to prove myself to the people that look, this works and you should be doing it too. Because this is my baby is sleeping right now. You're all making noise, but she's sleeping. And when I come into your home and your baby is sleeping, you'll be like, shh, wait, it's not necessary. Yeah, so you should be able to be doing more practical things when you're carrying your own baby at the back. So that's how I started Bereka. And Bereko as well. Of course, I started doing a research on back home. I have in Bereko white, but it was it's very filthy. It's almost brown because it was dirty. Of course, that's my mother gave me, and I realized that one was brought to us during colonialism. Brought to us in a way that not because the people knew about carrying babies, but they created it through what they had seen African people doing already. So the white Bereko, I then took it and I put it aside, and I went back to find the real design that I had seen with people using in African countries with leather, the skin of animals. And then I that's how I started to create Bereka as a product, a bit more comfortable, of course, and researching about the pelvis area of a woman, the pelvis area of the back of a man. How does it work when you carry a baby, when you're short, tall, when your baby is growing, how do they grow in the Bereka, and the spread position of the baby? Because that whole idea of why people were asking me the spreading of the leg, how
Yes.
come asking about it? And how come in Africa we do it automatically without having to think about it? It means we are
If the
close.
baby is hurting or not, yeah.
Yes, when you are closer to nature, there are things that you practice without having to think about it.
Like
You
reflex action.
exactly, and you see that we are closer to animals than we ever think of. Look at a monkey, and you look at a kangaroo. We are not closer to a kangaroo. So the way you would say you carry a baby at front, people saw that African people do that only during breastfeeding. But when a European go to Africa for tourism, they make pictures, but they would ask you to put your breast inside because they don't want you to, So mostly you would see then loads of pictures on Google of African people carrying babies and in front. And then I started thinking, no, I need to do research on that. And I realized, no, an African woman can never carry a baby in front when she's working in the field. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
The only sense is she's giving breastfeeding, and when she finishes, she straight the baby, or she push the baby back, and then she start working. So I saw the differences between Europeans and Africans. That's how the whole comparison came from.
Wow.
And that's how I started doing lots of research about Bereka, of course.
Right. And I mean, that's quite amazing and super inspiring. I remember when I posted your story and how viral it went, which was quite overwhelming just to realize that a lot of the things that we experience in our day-to-day lives in Africa or in Zimbabwe, we take them for granted. And you saw an opportunity there, you developed an enterprise, but you also documented, you wrote a book about this.
Thank you. Yes, I did. It's still by the publisher because, like I'm saying to you, the way I started carrying the baby is the same as things that I have explained, broken down in the book. Things that maybe the Europeans are now starting to realize they should have done this earlier. They kind of asking themselves whether the book is allowed to be published, yes or no. But I'm still gonna do it self-published anyway. But I'm being asked some questions, biologically, scientifically, about a few things. So that's the reason why it's being delayed. But the book is there. The book it's called The Art of African Ethnic Caring Culture. And,
wow. And do you see a change in perception since you launched your initiative? Do you think that there's been a transformation and a change in perception?
Oh yes. It's like you see that when you start in 2007, you don't see many people carrying babies, and you only hear maybe there's a village there in the Netherlands, or there's somewhere in Scandinavia, or there's somewhere in Scotland where people climb mountains, or or in Switzerland, that they are using those careers that are built with I don't know, there are people
They
who
have metals and
yes,
friends.
some
Yeah,
heavy stuff,
Yeah.
and then I saw those people, and of course I also, but there were not so many. It was something very alternative to practice. It was not something usual, and it wasn't something that we would say the law allowed. Like you may ask yourself, I'm not the first African to be in Europe. There are Africans to come here, and these Africans, they knew already how to carry their babies. And I think an African mother with her senses, she would really carry a baby inside the house. If I asked them, I went on interviewing people asking, why is it that you don't carry your baby outside? You would put the baby in pram. They say, oh, the laws here, if they would see me carrying the baby, people say all sorts of stuff. So not everybody can respond the way I responded. Sometimes you are either the voice of people or not. And people will be scared because a lot of people, they respect the European culture in the sense that it depends on their papers. It depends on how they came here. Some are refugees. You know how different people from Africa are on that level of
Yeah, true, true.
Here to Europe. So the more when you are here and you are not free, there's no way you can manage to do such things. So sometimes it's very hard for an African mother then to come up with what she already knows.
And what
Because
she believes in.
yes, because at that moment all she can do is to protect her job. Or sometimes at that moment all she can do is protect her marriage or protect whatever she has to maintain a stay in Europe. But otherwise she'll be in trouble. So that's why I'm saying kuti sometimes Mari, Mabasa Anoita, and sometimes it's not everyone who is in that position. And of course, sometimes I'm scared to say what I say or do what I do, but I just realize you get a calling to do something and you have to do it.
And you have
That's
to do it.
yeah. So that's
Great.
what happened. A lot of people change. A lot of people are carrying their babies now in Netherlands, in Scotland, in Ireland, in England, especially in the areas like Yorkshire, the
Yes.
outskirts. In London, you can see now people doing that in the town places, and people are now organizing, like things like pregnant activities where people can teach each other about baby caring. I have students
Nice.
that are teaching throughout Netherlands, throughout other countries, then to learn how to properly carry the baby. And of course, you come across those who will be thinking we can remake where we are Europeans. Who are you as an African to tell us what to do? So we can remake this career and do it on our own. But in the end, you come across these people doing it on the wrong way. You'll be thinking, why are you carrying such a big child in front? You can't even see properly yourself. That doesn't make any sense. So I confront such people, of course, positively. In the end, you are a business person, entrepreneur. You also teach or you learn, you teach yourself to become empathic. You have to be
Yes.
to use empathy to teach,
Yeah.
to not confront people in such a way that you put them down. You have to see a way of approaching a mother who is carrying that child in front. Because for her, she thinks she's already doing it perfectly. So even when they are carrying that babu, people call it babu in Zimbabwe, a male in China thing, and the baby akarembera kuzasuko. Then you'll be thinking, what are you doing? It doesn't make any sense. But forgetting that mother who is born after 2000 in Zimbabwe was born in a westernized.
They might not have experienced all of this.
Yeah, so in a way, we need to be careful with how we approach each other in such a way that we know a mother who she's still Zimbabwean, carrying the same skin color, even if she would wear dukunas and everything like that. But sometimes the experiences differ because she grew up, achienda kuvainona, achienda ku Ellis Robbins, or wherever she went to, and they grew up knowing only the Western side of lifestyle. And then when we teach them the other side, cultural side, we have to be careful that sometimes they will be telling you until you tell them, look, the Western people came to colonize us in so ways. So or is in carrying the babies as well. So
great. And you as an entrepreneur, are your designs patented? Do you have like a copyright protection to the designs that you've created? I've seen.
yeah.
Yes.
I do. At the moment I have one certificate that is hanging on my I don't know if I can turn my camera.
Great.
I have here a certificate for baby care workout and Bereka. That is
nice.
because if you want to start something in Europe, definitely as an African, there is one thing that we should know. They will always ask you questions, and you need to be very careful and put your things together. It costed me a lot of money to protect Bereka and the baby care workout concept. Also because the remakers can always let a child fall. And if your product is not protected, then you are one of the creators or concept.
And then it comes back to you to affect the
Yes.
business.
So yes, I had to find out how can I protect myself and how can and it costs a lot of money, of course. So yes, it is. And at the moment, I'm in the process of doing it in Zimbabwe through Aripo. You know, Aripo.
Okay. Yes, Aripo. Yes.
I've been there personally. They are very nice people. Yes, I was.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a very beautiful building there. So I went there and I was asking them, how can I do this? They said, oh, if you are protected already in Europe, it makes your process much easier. It's
Okay,
just
great.
why it's going to be protected within African countries. The
Yeah.
more countries you want, the more you pay. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So at the moment, it's more investing than earning money at the moment, and I don't make profit as such, not yet. But all I know is I put the thing on the map, and I'm happy that the people, everyone knows me. If you see many people carrying babies and doing activities on internet, most of them, they've come through me. They know me, and you see
Yeah.
most people that I've been teaching so far, they have already started on their own. And some are paying license, some not yet.
Okay, great.
Yes. Oh, I talk too much. Huh?
No. I appreciate it. Like you're talking about licensing, which is a super cool
Yeah.
concept because I see with, for example, Zumba. Now the
Yeah,
creator of Zumba makes more money from licensing other
I know.
people, and they don't have to go to every country. They've just created a
That's
system,
true.
and
That's
yeah, and you have workouts that are connected to baby carrying. Can you just give us briefly information on that? What sort of workouts are you making? You, the,
Yeah, I the baby care workout is actually started with the fact that because I used to do lots of aerobics and sporting and race biking, but immediately after giving birth and pelvis area was painful, I could not just get into an aerobic class, a fitness class, and
yes,
do this heavy stuff because what I realized is when you get into a fitness class, it's a group of people working out. Even if you have a personal trainer, not so many people would ask you. By then, people would never ask you, did you just give birth? Come over here. I loved aerobics. It's not like everybody has to go and do fitness
yes,
with personal trainer. So I just realized that was too heavy for me. And then I started like walking and doing using the instruments outside there, like a bench, doing workouts. That's how I started creating the whole idea. At first, I didn't know I was going to do that. And then later on, I realized I could do more with music and more workouts, carrying my baby at the back. It was another way then to prove myself to people that look, carrying your baby at the back is the most, and mostly at the end, the only way that can maintain a better posture. And
yes.
when you're talking about a posture of a human being, I have here. Sorry,
No, it's
I
fine.
work with my friend here.
Okay, great.
Yes. So
Hello.
say hi to people. So this friend of mine helped me to explain to people about this pelvis area
Yes,
where which we as human beings, that's the only thing we have to survive on. If you look at everybody who is doing fitness, doing aerobics and not doing nothing but carrying babies, if you do it wrongly, yeah, because we are very enthusiastic, you can have back pain in the end. Yet actually carrying a baby is supposed to help you maintain a better posture. So
yes,
during my research, when I was preparing baby care workout, I just realized we need to show people that carrying a baby should be done properly. But then this is the only way so far to show people you're carrying baby at the back, you're standing upright, your
yes,
posture is correct, your baby is also having a correct posture. So the correct posture of the baby, that's another secret that we have, where you see that a child in Africa who is carried, going
yes,
back to music, can dance, moving their posture and their pelvis. You know, it's looser. But when
yes,
you look at a European child who has never been carried, their movement is different. Looking at a wife or a husband who is European, my husband, if you are talking about sexual intercourse, the
yes,
movements are different. I don't want to lie on that one. And African men or African women, they have a
yes,
different, their pelvis is stronger. So
different.
that's how I start teaching people on that area that the caring of a baby is a very crucial thing. So you already see even the westernized parents in Africa, they
Yes,
cannot dance anymore that properly compared to those who practice culture improperly. So that's how I started doing the baby care workout. That's the best,
right.
the creation, yeah. And in the end, baby care workout, baby care with dance, of course,
Yes,
it's a program where if you want to have it in your own location, you get you get a course. We start with a course of 2 days, so to prepare you to start your own with 4 people minimum, and then you get a Bereka as the product. So it's a package, full package.
Okay,
And
great.
we give you advice on what not to do, what to do,
What to do.
the type of music. Yeah, we can provide the music because we can understand that not everybody has got that boomerang certificate
Yes.
where you can pick the music of, you can't even play music on Facebook. So that's why I really like to work with artists.
Yes.
Because if I can have a conversation with the artist and tell him about baby care workout, and they can even use the baby care workout into their lyrics and use the Bereka idea into their lyrics, and then we use the same music to create a choreography that the gentleness that we need to use when we are, teaching the newborn parents, a parent who just bed, she is mostly not depressed as such, but they are opt to be depressed when they get so much pressure. So we need to support those parents. We are hearing so much about mental health problems, illnesses in Africa.
Yes.
Yet so big, we used to we even didn't know what it was. So what we need now is, instead of giving our parents in Africa loads and loads of medication, antidepressants, we need to encourage them to go out there, get your baby at your back, use the Bereka properly, and when you use that Bereka properly, do the exercises. So I'm looking for some places like gym places.
Wow, that's quite interesting.
Yes, it is, because I'm sad when I hear that my little sister or somebody else whom I don't know, who is suffering from mental health sickness, but she just gave birth. That's not possible. That's not supposed to happen. Don't want that. It pains me though. And a parent who just gets birth should be enjoying of a child and doing activities with a child. Another crucial the advantage of baby care workout and baby
Yes.
care dance, instead of teaching your child to dance later, or instead of teaching your child about healthy lifestyle later, you are including your child already. Your
Whilst you're
child is
training, your
seeing
child is
what you're
also
doing
working out.
there,
Okay.
and the child is seeing everybody around them practicing the things
They're
that you
already
want to.
taking it in.
You're taking it for the next generation, yes. And not only practicing by dancing or doing workouts, but just carrying your baby it actually promotes the development of your child. The child develops quicker because they are seeing people from a human level, isn't it? Not from the people are seeing only the legs of
I get you.
so the child can see how the people speak, the motoric. Not for nothing that African children can talk, they can go out there and play, and their parents are leaving them going on their own. It's because they've already experienced safety at a higher level within the first 4 years. So yet in Europe, we are always protecting our children up to 10 years old, which is not that if you can a child with safety.
Great. And now you've also developed online courses.
Mhm.
You keep evolving within the technology and creating new products, new programs.
Yes.
What would you say? There's a lady who's watching right now. We're celebrating the International Women Month, and uh, there's someone who's there in Zimbabwe or elsewhere in the diaspora or elsewhere in the world who's watching right now, who's trying to think of ideas of for businesses to do, and they hear you speak about how we are tapping into, your own heritage and creating enterprises from there, but also preserving that culture and heritage. What would you say to them?
Now, I would say actually, the first thing that you need to do is to believe in yourself. Um, they are, you see, like loving talking about yourself is the most important thing. We women, we like talking about other things, other people, which can take a lot of time. But I mean to say, we have been westernized. We have been in a slavery period. We have been. I don't want to talk about it from the victim point of view, but let's learn from that. It starts within yourself. Love yourself, like who you are, starting from your skin color, your hair, and that makes you also represent it to others. So when you manage to achieve something that is your own, meaning you really appreciate that thing that you used to look down upon it,
Yes.
you are able to teach it to somebody else. So it doesn't matter what
Right.
it. Yeah. So when it comes to business ideas, I remember, I don't know if anyone has heard me talking about non-westernized entrepreneurship. I started talking about it about 3 years ago. I was really passionate about it because I realized all of what we have been doing so far is designed by the supremacy, how do you call that? Has been designed by someone else for us. And the education that we are following has been designed
By
in
somewhere else.
Cambridge, somewhere else. Yes. And that means the moment it's designed for you, it doesn't benefit you. It may
Yes.
look like it does, but it doesn't, because it benefits the designer.
The designer, yes.
Yes. Unless if the designer is not focusing on money. So what happens is, when you want to know about our culture, start knowing about your history, to be honest.
True.
If you don't know your history, you always follow someone else who designed it for you for their own benefit. And so starting from, our round hat in Zimbabwe, it's
Yes.
for a reason. Start to study that. And when you know why we teach in circles, it already says enough about inclusion, inclusiveness, togetherness. And
Wow.
also, when you talk about togetherness, we are talking about listening to each other, respecting each other, not stealing from each other, but including each other. And when we are kubatana, when the kubatana is to do with that round as well. Because
Yes.
long back, people used to have things together, teaching each other, not stealing from each other. But when
Yeah.
the colonialism came, that's when you see that and that was the beginning of individualism. And you see now, if I have my sister who is in Zimbabwe, I saw somebody who has a fitness certificate. That's very attractive to me. She's
Yeah.
not a competitor, because I would love her to help me then teach other parents in Zimbabwe. Take Bereka, having 12 of them or 20 of them, having 20 parents in her own class, and start doing that. Maybe with John Cole teaching them the dance classes. So
Yes.
it's not about who do I see as a competitor. It's about who do I see as a sister, so we can work together. Because my program is very large. I cannot do that on my own. So it's not about whom do I want to be a millionaire. I'm not a millionaire either. But if I want to be a millionaire very quick, I go to the bank, I take a capital, and then I start buying, selling, and paying people. But in the end, then I become a millionaire. But I can also fall very quick. The whole idea is to protect our heritage. And
Yes.
protecting our heritage means we are helping young ones in the future to have jobs.
That's true.
Yeah. Another thing that I wanted to show our sisters from back home, I already see that when we started talking about it a way ago, this is
Yes.
something. I'm sorry for showing you. You are
No,
a
no, no,
man, I
it's
know.
fine. I think
It's
it's
something
important to have
very
it.
important if you look at it.
Planet and
And
fact.
yes, and you see Micheka behind me.
Yes.
And before I saw that people are very much into our culture, I realized that we would order stuff from South Africa. Maybe it still
Yes.
happens.
It
People are
still
ordering
happens. We
from
consume a lot from South Africa.
Yes, people are using loads and loads of plastic. So what we are seeing in Europe happening in the seas, that there's so much plastic that we cannot even throw away, and it's actually killing our nature. Why don't we start by saying grow cotton? It's an idea that I'm selling. Why don't we start by saying keep and start keeping sheep? Why?
Yes.
Those things are very crucial in life, because we used to look at David Whitehead and we'll be thinking, where does he get this whole thing? But then what does happen with David Whitehead? I visited the where David Whitehead used to be in Kadoma. It's called Mat these days. I wanted to get in there, but they did not allow me. I don't know if they whether I knew more anything, because I'm always into research. I wanted to see what they do, those people. But I saw that there's so much fabric that they make, and it goes straight out of Zimbabwe. I wonder if the name Zimbabwe is still maintained when it goes out there.
Yeah. It
But the
might actually carry a different name when it's out there.
So painful, very painful. So there are so many things that we can do to create jobs for our for children. Of course, I cannot say too many things because maybe it becomes political. I'm not
Yes.
person. I love music more, but I think when you ask me such a question about what can I advise when it comes to starting your own business in Zimbabwe, or what can I advise when it comes to promoting our culture, is believing
Yes.
in ourselves, knowing our history, and knowing what we don't want anymore. Don't bring plastic back home. Create our own pads. If you want a pattern, you want an online course, I can teach you. Especially the challenging part is about what do we put inside there. Yeah,
Yes.
you can create a shape or anything, then still put plastic inside there. But the whole idea is making it organic. Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yes.
of course, when it comes to farming, it's going very well, I saw. But the farmers are the most crucial people because they can farm cotton, they can farm sheep, they can farm, all these fruits that can color our fabric. Because every little fabric that you see here, I did the research on it.
Oh,
I,
yes.
Ghana, some are from
Yes.
Kenya, some are from, if you look at Scotland, you see Muscogee Aya, you
Yes,
see,
I see this coach. Yes.
yes, you see. So if you look at this is from Scotland, yeah,
From Scotland.
yes,
Yes.
yeah, and you talk about colonialism, and then you take this. This one is from Kenya. Oh wait,
Yes.
this one is from Kenya, and this
This
one is
one is from Scotland.
yes. I've been to the Scottish uh, windmill where they do the fabric. I
Yes.
did ask them, where did they get the idea long back? You see this one, that's the name. I even have it here.
Yes.
You see,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
called tartan, tartan.
Okay. Yes, I see it.
Yes, and it cost 11 pounds. It's not even a meter. 11 pounds, yeah. But when somebody go to Kenya and they want to buy this from a Maasai, they don't
Yes.
even want to pay anything. Yeah, we are doing it ourselves, not even a white person. We do this. We don't. When you go to Africa, we want to close with us.
Want to negotiate, want to get
Want to
everything like
negotiate.
it.
Don't want to pay people who weave these materials, and that's very bad because that's how we kill our economy. And you cannot start a business about culture when you look down upon it.
Yes.
You can only start a business about something that you believe in. And if your mind is still westernized, the more you think, Sisi, can you give me a visa? I want to come and start a job there.
Yes.
The only thing you think of is, Sisi, can you look for a white man for me there because we are having a good life? So that's why you see that sometimes I'm very blunt on what I say about it's not always what we see outside. It's not like
Yes.
everybody
It's not
happy
like what
being
everybody thinks.
a
Yes.
white person. Yes. So that's how I am only trying to encourage our youth to start seeing around them the things they already have. They have vitamin D that we don't have. If they can, something to think about, food for thought.
And melanin.
Yes. So yeah, with
Thanks a
these
lot.
materials, that's how I create Bereka. As you can see, this is also made Bereka to be already. This one is already done. And I made a dress from this. It's a kente cloth. It's another
Yes.
variety, kente from Ghana.
From Ghana,
And,
yes.
I believe in these things. This one is made in our Kwachi, where I grew up. They
Yes.
gave it to me. So everything that I have here is really handmade. And this is made in Zimbabwe. Neupu.
Oh, no.
Yeah, yeah. Let me just show you.
Wow.
Neupu, they put it in the oven. Yes. I'm
Wow.
really proud of it. My sister arranged it for me. Oh yeah, I have to do this.
Wow.
So
Beautiful.
whilst all of us we go to Zimbabwe and we go and what I do is I go to those fabrics that Masasa and
Yes.
how they Kujinda, who is Kujinda really?
Yeah,
And
Kujinda fabrics.
that
Yes.
they are owned by the ex-Rhodesians. Honestly, I'm looking for brothers who used to work for those companies
To
and
start
see
up companies.
experience they have. And those people, they have experience. Look, the boss is the one with the money, maybe
Yes.
but long time people used to weave back home.
True, true.
We need to be teaching each other about the ancient way and the modern way, and the more we have more productivity, then we can even create more stories, fabric with story, fabric that our artists are going to wear. Not that our artists are wearing mucheka unenge wakagadzirwa somewhere else. Unenge usiri iwo chaiwo, because if I look at the retso is not the retso that we know now. Plastic unotengeswa kumbaro, but where it's produced is by Indians in South Africa.
Yes.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
True.
You see, mucheka weanga the same.
Right. And you mentioned, you talked a lot about music. Before we close now, what kind of music do you listen to? Do you still listen to Zimbabwean music? Which artists do you listen to?
Well, I used to make live videos and doing a guest thing with people. I used to love, I grew up listening to, Analena Didembo, Wanamachesto, and of course I used to listen to lots of South African music from the Venda area and Ndau area, the Tonga area where the Thomas Chauke come from.
Yeah, Thomas
Chauke. I love Thomas Chauke's music. He's my favorite, and I love their dance. And so if you look at you remember you once posted about Lazarus Kagudi.
Lazarus Kagudi, yes.
Yes, Skoro. I love all those music. I grew up listening to Miriam Makeba because of my mother, to Judith Sepuma. What is this Sepuma from?
Judith Sepuma.
Yes. And I grew up listening to Love Mama Jaivana and so both sides, the Blawayo music and the Harare
music.
Yes.
And currently, who's on your playlist? Do you have like any current artist that you're saying, look, I listen to that? Any Zim dance or any hip hop, any sungura, any gospel?
Well, I have lost though, because there's this guy who will sing the
Aishan.
Kure. And of course, Baba Harare. I know. I really like how he muskanzwa yake at the same time. The fact that he's from Kumashingo and reminds me of Leonard Dembo. And of course, I do listen to, I try to find out who goes back to the 90s, because I grew up in the 90s, of course, so the music. And of course, I don't only listen, the same dance when I sing about Venezuela, and I also through you guys. And thank you for that.
And who do you listen to, Zindance? Who do you like the most?
I saw Winky D.
Oh, Winky D, yes.
I like at first, I didn't know what was going on when he had this lady in the garden. Because that moment, yes. And then later on, I saw that he's very diverse, and I saw his last video, which is when you know your history about Egypt, and then you'll be like, wow, what he has enough message there. If you know, you know, and the way he talks about slavery, the way I wrote last time about these two black and black person kissing, but then still in the chains of slavery, and the last music. So I look at their lyrics, and of course I listen to Colin Makombe. He's a great artist. I was allowed to be in one of his videos in Zimbabwe. And the Mbira people, of course, from the cultural side, the Mbira Zenarira, and and the new artists that are coming up. I don't know all the names though, but if you go on my line, you will see that I listen to different music.
A lot of Zimbabwean music.
Yes, I do.
Wow. Thank you so much. It's been awesome. We'd want to have a part 2 of this conversation and definitely organize one. It was super great, speaking to you. I learned so much, and I believe also everybody who's watching, they also learned something. And thank you so much, Melissa. I really appreciate you, and I appreciate you taking your time to take us through your enterprise, your history, and your passion. And is there anything that you want to say to Zimbabwe before we end the program? We're going through, right now, Zimbabwe is going through a lot of challenges. And as we're celebrating Women's Month, you'd find women are the most hard hit. Why? Because
the best of most of the, yeah.
exactly.
No, well, I of course, I in 2017 I started knowing Zimbabweans again, because at first I would do everything in Dutch, and then I realized, oh, a lot of Zimbabweans, especially the youth, were really interested in what I was writing, and started translating it back to English. And now I have loads of people who are coming to my timeline. I'm non-political. I try not to put my nose in the business that I'm not, because I'm not. Since '94, I don't know a lot of things that happened in Zimbabwe,
Yeah.
but still they affect me. Yeah. So I think what I can advise people is to stay calm in different situations. I remember talking about this empathy, that you see beyond a shouting voice. You
Yeah.
look, you listen to the message beyond an angry person, and you try to find out, where do I stood in? Because you cannot just be part of it just because we were all Zimbabwean. You cannot just be part of it just because you are carrying a brown skin. We are still individuals who are supposed to be responsible for our actions. So what I think, no matter which situations to Zimbabwe, you are still Mwanawefu. And I love you personally, to be honest, and more than anything, because I am Zimbabwean. And the last thing that I want to see on Google, at least if I would say, there's the bad things that resemble Zimbabwe as a country. I think every country, or every human being, they go through a lot. We all go through challenges wherever we are. But I think when you can say something positive about who you are, about
Then
where
it
you
inspires more people.
exactly, it can make someone's behavior change. I remember a few years ago, if I would Google Zimbabwe, all you would see is people vakaurayiwa, people vakaenda kutaura izvi nechishona, vanhu vakadini, and vanhu vanotaura, so even nezvinononzwa nyaya dzemabhemba dzechii. But I think in the long run, wherever you go, even if you die, you want to leave something behind that is positive for the generation. The next generation I don't think it's nice for them, or for my child, if they Google Zimbabwe, which is the half part of them, to see zvakangodaro, no matter how. Yes, if vanhu vacho vakafirwa, I don't think it's nice for them to keep being confronted by munhu wava akashaya. I think we need to still follow our culture, kuti no matter which situation, we still have something good that we are good at. No matter, even if you are a millionaire, you are a dancer, you are a celebrity, you are I really appreciate all what you do, but try to respect each other, especially that. I know you are very good in what you do, but respecting each other is the best, and it's very important. And when it comes to business, I was happy to see Nama.
Yes.
We watched it full, and it was really nice. I was
That's
so
great.
proud. Yes, I was
That's
showing
so
my.
great. I work for the producer and the team behind Nama, Napoleon Yani and Leonard Mafumo, Prudence Mgani are watching. It's quite encouraging to get that kind of feedback, and thank you so much.
Trying to call me, yeah. Sorry.
So yeah, thank you so much. It's been awesome speaking to you, and we'll definitely stay in touch. And I'll give in the video, I'll also drop links to your Facebook and your YouTube channel, so that
thank you so much. One last thing, very important. What I forgot to tell is, I normally forget to say that, because I know it's from the entrepreneur side. I like telling stories and stuff, but the most important thing when it comes to business, I am looking for franchisers from Bereka.
Okay, great.
Zimbabwe, also different parts of Africa, even in Europe. So people who can get Bereka and start reselling it, and you taught how to use it. So don't worry about it. And I'm looking for people who are prepared to pay license to start practicing baby workout and baby carry dance, and artists who wants to work with us when it comes to
the music
that suits our program. But even if we see that your number really is danceable to what we want, we have lots of them, but are we able to contact you? Are you free to work with us so we can promote your music through our program, Baby Carry Workout?
Great. You heard it there. She's looking for people that can take up a franchise and be part of the Bereka and the Bereko.
Yes.
initiative. And thank you so much,
Yeah.
Bereka,
You too.
Barding.
Thank you for your work, and you are doing a great job for us. Without you, we wouldn't be knowing the positive things that are happening in Zimbabwe. And go on. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And to everybody who's watching, thank you so much for watching. My name is Plot Marco. It's been Air Ground, and let's stay tuned. Until next time, New Voices Amplified. Thank you.
Ear Ground Radio. New voices amplified.